What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here for another player ratings. Tottenham got beat by Leicester 2-0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday. And a pretty much disastrous day, disastrous performance, and a disastrous result, really. Couldn't have gone any worse, really, yesterday, couldn't it, Sim?
Yep. We had 2 game weeks where everyone dropped points. It didn't seem so bad that we did, but that's kind of flipped now. Everyone kind of got points, and we're the only ones who dropped to this week. So, look, obviously it feels extra bad. But in terms of performance, we'll get into it. But, yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. We deservedly got beat. Rodgers did a Mourinho on us. And we have to come up with ways of combating teams if they're going to sit deep like that.
And it's genuinely a wake-up call with the way... I know we've been winning games, but like we've been saying, we haven't been playing that well. Chances creation have gone down since that West Ham game. So do you think this is a wake-up call for us moving into the season or finding a plan B?
I hope so, because I think at the beginning of the season, we were attacking a lot, and maybe we didn't have the balance right. We were conceding too many goals. And now it seems like we've shored up the defence, got a lot of results, and we're doing well. But now it seems like the balance is right, where the other way is too defensive now. We're not creating enough chances. So Mourinho has to look at that and think of ways to start creating more chances, because you can't go a whole season and trying to achieve what you want to achieve by creating as little as we do. Even if I know our defence is solid, but as soon as if you're a couple of mistakes or anything, and it starts unraveling a bit. So we need to start being more creative. And I know he got a bit unlucky with the injuries and taking Ndombele off and whatnot, but he still needs to find solutions.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the player ratings. Let's start off with Hugo Lloris. Hugo, we gave a 6. I thought it was a quiet day for Hugo, really. Obviously, Vardy sent him the wrong way from the spot, and he was wrong-footed for Alderwiereld's goal. Yeah. But apart from that, made a couple of nice catches, but that's about it. He wasn't really tested.
Yeah, didn't have too many saves to make. It wasn't a game of many chances, and I think he did a few things well. He couldn't have done anything with the goals, so nothing much there for Hugo.
Yeah. Let's move on to Serge Aurier. We gave him a 3. I actually thought Serge was having a really good game up until that penalty error. And what a needless error. Oh my days. Literally, Fofana is not giving us any danger. He's in the little corner of our area,
away from goal.
On the right-hand side, nowhere near goal. Aurier decides to shove him in the back. And then after that, I think Aurier pretty much fell to pieces. He really did.
It seemed to affect him, that mistake, because he came out in the second half and he was not great. He was, it showed when there's a reason why he's put Sissoko right back instead of leaving Aurier on, because he was having a woeful game. His crossing was going straight out of play. I don't know if it affected him or not, but yeah, first half penalty. Really, I personally believe that was a big blow to us in terms of getting a result in this game. The way we were playing anyway. Yeah, Mourinho could have done better and whatnot, and all these different factors. But when it's 0-0 and it's tight, and you just give a good opponent like Leicester a 1-0 advantage like that, it's always going to be a big mountain to climb. And there was pretty not unforgivable, because I think he's been pretty good this season, Serge. So it's harsh to say it's unforgivable, but those are the kind of mistakes. That's like we saw from Serge previously, and it just, when that starts creeping back in your game, you start to question it again. It was just an absolutely inexplicable error from Serge Aurier, and there's like no excuses you can say for why he gave away that penalty. It was just a complete moment of madness from him, and hopefully it doesn't happen again, but we all know with Serge that it might do at some point.
Yeah. Let's move on to Reguilon. We gave him a 6. I thought Reguilon did all right. I thought he did everything pretty much asked of him defensively. Going forward, didn't do much. I don't think he got forward much, to be fair. But yeah, I think there was no problems coming down his side, I don't think.
Fairly quiet game, I thought, from Reguilon. Yeah, he got feed a couple of times, got a few crosses in, but didn't really have the support. I don't think it was a particularly great game from him, to be honest. Probably one of his weakest, but I think he was okay. He was okay. I thought or he probably could have dealt with Albrighton a bit better than he did. I don't know where he was for the second goal. I think it was on a breakaway, but, tracking back and whatnot. And probably could have got back a bit quicker, but Look, it is what it is with Reguilon.
Yeah. Toby Alderwiereld, we gave him a 6. I thought he was the better of the two centre-backs on the day. I thought it was very unlucky for that own goal, kind of just hit him and rebounded into the net. I don't think he knew too much about it. But yeah, I thought he dealt with pretty much most of the stuff that came his way comfortably.
I thought him and Dier, especially in the second half, struggled a bit. I really do. I think
Dier struggled a lot more than him.
I think they were both okay, but I'm not talking about individually. I'm talking about struggled in terms of the defensive structure, because I felt like we were leaving a lot of space in behind in the second half, and they didn't really have the pace to kind of cope with it. And I think a few times Leicester got on a good breakaway, and whereas in the first half and most games of the season, they've been in a low block and they've had the support to kind of deal with players running at them. When they're kind of isolated, you can see there's issues there. And I think you can see now why, because this is kind of like what Pochettino requires in all his games. This is how he plays high. Everyone pushes high and you leave yourself isolated. And you can kind of see why that wasn't working in the latter part of Poch, because I just don't think Dier and Toby have the legs for that. And I can see why we need a faster centre-back to partner him. And he doesn't trust Sanchez. And obviously Rodon hasn't quite got in the team yet. So I can see why he wants a faster-paced centre-back. Look, I don't think Toby was worse than Dier, but I think in terms of in the defensive structure, I did think he struggled. I think his passing was pretty good, but a lot better than Dier's, though. We'll get into Dier's passing now. Yeah,
that's all. Let's get into Eric Dier now. We gave him a 4. I thought it was a really bad display from Eric Dier. I thought a lot of sloppy moments in possession, dithering on the ball, gifting Leicester opportunities, especially at the end when we're trying to chase the game. He literally just gives Leicester an opportunity, and they went through on goal or pretty close to going through on goal. I thought it was a poor display. And also, you got to remember, is that goal that was offside from Maddison was all his fault as well. Caught out of position. So I was really disappointed with Eric Dier on the weekend.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about in terms of leaving a lot of space in behind. That second goal especially was a big evidence of that. They just couldn't cope. One ball over the top. Maddison's not exactly the quickest guy in the world. And one ball over the top and he's in on goal and he's 1-on-1. And when you're defending, you can't afford to have that situation materialize. But Dier was sloppy yesterday, no doubt about it. I actually felt in the second half when we needed a goal, he was probably one of the players pushing most in terms of, there was a few moments where he was driving into midfield, he was trying to create something for the team and he was really trying to push the team on, but it didn't kind of happen for him. But I thought defensively, he was really sloppy with his passing, gave the ball away a few times really cheaply, and he also a lot of his crossfield balls and pings didn't come off at all into no man's land, nowhere near him.
2 or 3 weeks, to be fair.
So yeah, that's something he's got to really improve. And look, Jose's got to manage how best to work this defense when we need a goal, because I felt like when we put a lot of risk to going forward and leaving ourselves exposed, it didn't quite work, just because I felt like the centre-backs, they're not the fastest. So I think it got caught out a lot.
All right, let's move on to Moussa Sissoko. We gave him a 4. Moussa Sissoko, I mean, he looked really strange on the ball yesterday. I don't think anything was coming off for him. He kept taking extra touches, and that defending for that second goal, man.
He could have done better.
What is he doing?
I don't know. He allows Vardy to get up early, allows him to get the head on the ball, which obviously allowed the confusion and it fell in the back of the net. Wasn't a great display yesterday from. So I thought in the first half he was okay. I thought he was doing well, but
I was singing his praise in the first half.
The problem with Sissoko is as soon as you go 1-0 down, all of a sudden, when we need a goal in the second half, you have a midfield pivot of Hojbjerg and Sissoko. It doesn't scream creativity, and especially when you take out Ndombele and Lo Celso out of that, and you're relying on them to kind of get balls, to get passes into the attacking players. I think Hojbjerg is all right at it, but Sissoko just is not adept at it. And I thought it was exactly. And I thought that's why he brought on Winks. But when he brought on Winks, he put Sissoko right back, And he just wasn't good there. He was not good there. I understand. I could kind of understand why Mourinho did it, because he thought Aurier was having such a bad game that it's probably just worth having Sissoko in there, but it didn't work. I think he made a mistake. He should have kept Aurier on, despite Aurier not playing well, because Sissoko was just not a threat at all. A few times, actually, to be fair to him, he got in behind the Leicester defence and had an opportunity to create something, and he couldn't do it. So I think, it wasn't a good day for Sissoko, and I question how good he can be when a team like Leicester are sitting in a low block and he needs to find incisive passes and stuff like that. It's just not his game, and he's great when we're playing City and Liverpool and Arsenal and we're sitting deep and he's using a lot of energy to put out fires. But when we need a goal and we're given possession like we were yesterday, his role becomes less clear.
Against teams that play a low block, I don't understand why we don't play Gio and Tanguy in the double pivot with Hojbjerg behind and with Bergwijn out wide. Like, why did he try and mix it up yesterday? Anyway, we'll get into Jose Mourinho a bit later, but let's move on to Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg. We gave him a 6. I thought he was the best out of the midfield trio of the game yesterday. I felt he was always trying to drive the team forward, always putting those combative moments in the middle of the park, but I do feel his passing was a bit off yesterday.
I thought his passing was okay. I just thought Wilfred Ndidi was an absolute monster. Anything played into the attackers, he was putting out straight away. I thought Hojbjerg had a decent game. I don't think he was one of his best, but I think he was just probably one of the better midfielders out there for Spurs. I thought he was quite combative, as you say. He still won quite a lot of tackles and stuff like that. I don't think his passing was that bad. I just think everyone around him was a bit more sloppy. His passing was a bit sloppy. There was a few moments where he could have found a teammate quicker and he didn't, and he played a short pass and whatnot. But I thought he was all right yesterday, Hojbjerg.
Yeah, it was one of the better players, that's for sure.
Yeah, probably.
Let's move on to Giovani Lo Celso. We gave him a 5. Started the game wide out on the right, which I didn't really feel suited him too much. I thought he was drifting in and out of the game, to be fair, and really unlucky to go off injured because we really needed him in that second half. That second half was really the time for him to shine, and unfortunately he went off injured.
Really unlucky. I actually thought he was having a decent game. He was in the first, he actually made more tackles than anyone on the pitch. And he went over half time.
That's the best part of his game, though. But that's not why we bought him. We bought him for his attacking output. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that creates attacking situations. He was winning the ball very high up the pitch, and he was probably arguably our best player in that first half. Gio with his aggressiveness, he was the most aggressive player on the pitch. I got no problem with Gio. I thought he did all right, but first of all, they're playing on the right-hand side didn't quite work for him. I don't see him as a right winger. I don't think that's the best role for him unless we're playing. I don't know. Maybe against a bottom half sides might be able to work, but against teams like Leicester, when you need more pace on the break and stuff, I don't think it quite worked. And then obviously the second half was set up for him to have bigger influence on the game once Tanguy went off, but that injury, which was caused as well by him making a tackle, he made again his aggressiveness causes an injury. Hopefully he's not out for too long, but it doesn't look good. It looked like he pulled something, so it looked like could be at least 2 weeks. But we'll have to wait and see what the medical staff here. But another injury for Gio is not good news for us because we know how he is with his injuries, and can sometimes take a while to get back and whatever. And we need him, especially this busy period coming up. Games coming thick and fast. We definitely need Gio to be contributing to the team. And I thought he was unlucky to go off yesterday, but I thought he had a decent display.
Yeah, I mean, these injuries just keep creeping back. I mean, how many more injuries does he get until we start branding him as injury prone if he's not already? It's a hard one because he's such a classy player.
I don't know. Look, he got another injury, but we'll have to wait and see. Look, you could say Kane's injury prone. You can say a lot of players are injury prone, but he's a class player.
Kane gets one big injury every year.
Anyway.
All right, let's move on to Tanguy Ndombele. We gave him a 4. I thought it was poor from Tanguy, I'm afraid. Really poor. I feel like every time he plays in that advanced role as a number 10, I don't ever think it's worked out for him. I really think that it's not the right. I don't think it's the right position. I've never liked him when he's played there. I like him.
Well, that's how he's been this season. That's where he's been. He's been class.
Yeah, but I always think his better work's been done a bit deeper down the pitch.
Maybe. Look. He's had a lot of great games this season in that position. So I don't know. Look at that Man City game. He was absolutely class in that game in the attacking midfield position. Like he's had a lot of good games there.
Look, you're
Man
right.
United.
I'm overstating it a bit, but I always feel like he plays better when he's playing deeper in the pitch. When he
hasn't played deeper this season. He's only played that position.
His best work has been done deeper when he's dropped a bit deeper, being played in the number 10.
Yeah, look, I think he's a more natural centre mid. I agree with you there, but I'm just saying that this whole season he's been playing in that attacking midfield, more advanced position. He's been pretty good. But yeah, look, yesterday, Wilfred indeed had him in his pocket, no doubt about it. You can't say anything else about it. He was completely anonymous in that first half. Tanguy didn't get involved at all. I think indeed was very aggressive against him. Kind of didn't let him turn or anything. Tanguy this season has been able to take on anyone and everyone and been able to beat them. But when he came up against Indeed, he met his match. I have to say that's the facts. That's facts.
Yeah, it's true, and he didn't get involved at all in that first half. But I just want to reiterate it. I do think he plays better deeper down in the centre of the park.
I think Mourinho made a mistake. Potentially made a mistake taking Tanguy off at halftime and maybe like someone like Sissoko and kind of force the issue a bit. But then having said that, I feel like if he would have taken off Sissoko and left Tanguy on and put Tanguy in a double pivot after about an hour, we could have seen a lot of spaces for Leicester to counter-attack us, because I feel like he could have got tired and then all of a sudden we can't stop their counter-attacks. So I can understand why he left Sissoko on, because to put out a few fires going the other way. But I think when you really need to force the issue, you definitely prefer someone like Tanguy on the pitch. Yeah.
Let's move on to Heung Min Son. We gave him a 5. Anonymous display, really, I felt. Didn't see too much of the ball other than that one shot from close range, which he should have done better with. But it was a good save by Kasper.
Yeah, I thought, to be fair to Son, you might say this isn't much to praise, but I thought he took good corners yesterday. And I thought Kane had a few good chances from his corners. So I think that's something to praise him for. I thought, that one chance at Kasper, I know he probably should have done better, but it is an absolutely fantastic save by Kasper Schmeichel. So you've got to give Schmeichel a lot of credit for that. One-handed diving to his left to keep it out. That was our best chance of the game, really. Other than that, look, yeah, he didn't have much. I felt like in the second half, he moved to a bit more. He moved up front, really, and Son is only really good in that position when there's more space left for him. He's not really good with his back to goal and trying to engineer shooting opportunities by out-muscling, by holding off centre backs. That's not really his game. So I did think he struggled a bit in the central attacking position. He had a couple opportunities actually, because I remember there was one time Lucas got in behind the Leicester defence, pulls it back for Son, and then Son takes a really heavy touch inside the box where he could have had a better touch and got a shot off. There was one time he found space, and the other time was from a corner. But he's definitely more comfortable on the left-hand side, and I feel like he struggled in the second half playing in that up-front position. And it was maybe we could have had Vinicius up there instead, and had Kane in behind and had Son on the left. But I think Mourinho has to learn from that.
Yeah. Let's move on to Harry Kane, the last of the starting 11. We gave him a 5. I know you thought he was a bit better than a 5, but I genuinely don't think he was. I mean, he had a couple of chances, but I felt that he struggled to make an impact in the game. He probably was our most creative player throughout the game, but nothing was really coming off for him.
Kane was the only one yesterday. Kane was the only one yesterday standing up and actually trying to make something happen. He was holding off defenders. He was actually creating things. His passing was good out wide, finding players out wide in good positions. I don't think he played badly. I'm honestly saying that he did not play badly yesterday. The stats also bear out. He had our most shots, most dribbles, most touches in the opposition box. He was the only one. I'm telling you this right now. He was the only one yesterday trying to make anything happen. If other players were on his level, we would have got a goal, because he was the only one trying to create something. And people might say, you're just a Kane apologist, whatever. I'm saying what I see. And Kane yesterday actually didn't have put in a bad performance. He actually, and especially when he had to drop a bit deeper and he had to try and be more creative, he was the only one finding players and actually nearly making something happen. He probably feels frustrated with those 2 chances he had from corners. One of them, I think, got cleared off the line, I believe, or near off the line. Might be going wide in the first half. And the other one was a really good chance from inside the 6-yard box again, just like on Wednesday. He headed it over the bar. That was a really good opportunity. But I thought in the second half, he was the only one who looked like he might make something happen. But unfortunately, it didn't happen for us.
Yeah, like I said, I did feel that he was creatively probably our best player, but still doesn't really say much because nothing really happened in the game. We lost the game 2-0.
He needs help. He needs to. I think he was shouldering a lot of burden, in my opinion.
And you've got to say that the last 2 games now, like you said, the Liverpool game and the Leicester game, he's missed gilt-edged chances, which usually he gobbles up for fun.
Correct.
But anyway, let's move on to the substitutes. Let's go to Gareth Bale. We gave him a 5. When are we going to start having that Gareth Bale conversation, bro? Because it's starting to get a bit more serious now as the games go on, because the games go on and go on and go on, and he keeps putting in the similar performances. I mean, he tried to inject some urgency, but it wasn't really coming off him. Tried to get a few runs going, beat a few men, but he just wasn't doing it in the dangerous areas.
No. Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't happen for him. There was only one time he kind of cut inside and won a free kick, and that was the only really time he looked at all dangerous in the game. Especially, I think a lot of the time he was obviously playing on the right hand side, cutting inside into congested areas. It didn't really work. When he went, he didn't really go on the outside. He just didn't do it the whole game. Try and get across on his right foot or anything. If you saw with Lucas Moura on the other side, the only joy he ever got was going around the outside of the fullback and getting him behind the Leicester defence. Because whenever he cut inside, you had indeed Tielemans, and as well especially when they brought on a third centre back, you had a third centre back to contend with, and you had one of their fullbacks. So they really clogged up the central areas and made it very difficult to play through them. So I think with Gareth Bale cutting inside all the time, it just didn't work at all. I don't think yesterday was, from what I saw, was. I think his passing was definitely off. But I think when you're pushing for an equaliser in the second half, I don't want you to have a high passing accuracy. I want you to try things. I want you to have crosses in the box and to be doing that kind of stuff. So I don't have a problem with that. It's just that he didn't look so sharp, and he didn't try different ways to beat his fullback. He linked up quite well with Sissoko a couple of times, to be fair to him, and he got Sissoko in behind, which was all right. But it came to no avail. Obviously, when you're looking at Gareth Bale, you want to see something special. He has 45 minutes to try and influence the football match, and he couldn't. And obviously questions are going to be asked. And but look, the whole team couldn't. It wasn't just Gareth, so you can't say Gareth has to take extra blame for that. But look, we want to start seeing more performances from Gareth Bale for sure. It's we're nearly halfway through the season now, and we've only had that one winner against Brighton, so we want to definitely see more from Bale. But I don't know. I felt like him playing on the right didn't quite work yesterday, just in general. And I thought as well, having no creative midfielder, getting passes into him probably didn't help him. But you can't put too much blame on that. I just thought he didn't look that sharp at the end of the day, and he has to do better. Look, I want to see as well. Bale's a great threat in the air. I need to see him getting in the box. Why are we swinging crosses in, getting Bale and Kane in there? I didn't see Bale in the box once yesterday. I don't remember seeing him once, only from corners where he was a bit of a threat. Other than that, he wasn't getting in the box. I want to see balls out to Reguilon, him whipping crosses in and getting Bale and Kane in there, because that could have been a bit more of a threat. I want to see more of a goal threat from Bale. But yeah, look, it didn't happen for him yesterday.
Yeah, and it's hard to take because it's like the same sort of performances every time. And like every time you see Gareth Bale come on or you see him start a game, you get all excited because it's Gareth Bale, the nostalgia from 7 years ago, but it's just not happening at the moment. I mean, long season to go yet, but at the moment doesn't seem to be happening.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Lucas Moura. We gave him a 4. Again, Lucas.
That's harsh. You can't give Lucas less than Bale. I'm sorry, that's harsh.
What?
Can't give Lucas less than Bale.
Well, first of all, Lucas Moura gave away the ball for the second goal. And second of all, he made a couple of runs, but did nothing with them.
Yeah, but that's more than Bale did.
Well, Lucas Moura gave away the ball for the goal. I mean, I know kind of it might not have been a goal, but it was a goal at the end of the day, and we lost 2-0.
He gave away the ball for the goal.
Yeah.
I have to see that back. But if he was trying to create a chance to give it away, then I'm not going to scold him for that. But look, I know he could. I know looking at the second goal, he could have got back quicker, and Albrighton had a lot of time to cross the ball, and it ended up it being a goal. But I thought Lucas injected a bit of pace on the left-hand side. He was one of the players in that second half who nearly made something happen. Again, look, he wasn't great. I'm not saying he was good, because I don't think he was, and he didn't really do much. But I thought he was at least on par with what Bale did on the other side. And I thought a couple of times he got in behind and put some decent balls across the face of goal, and Leicester defended it really well. And I think I remember rightly, he got a really good pass into Son, who took a really heavy touch and didn't get the shot off in the second half as well. But yeah, look, we want to see more from Lucas. We brought him on to replace. He wasn't part of the plan, Lucas Moura, because we brought him on a minute into the second half when Lo Celso went injured. So he wasn't meant to be on the pitch, but it forced our hand a bit. But I thought him on the left-hand side wasn't great, but I don't think he was any worse than what was on the right.
All right, let's move on to the last of the substitutes in Harry Winks. We gave him a 5. Came on to kind of influence our passing rhythm in the middle of the park, because we lacked a bit of players that could pass. We lacked a bit of creativity going forward, but I don't really think he helped his cause or anyone's cause, to be fair.
I disagree with that. Of course I do, but I disagree. I thought Harry Winks was actually okay when he came on. I thought we improved as a team a bit. We had a bit better shape about us when he was on the pitch, and I thought we created a few more openings.
Was the only thing that improved. Shape was the only thing that improved. Because I thought
he was all right. I thought he was okay.
What did he do?
Huh?
What did he do?
He helped get the ball forward a bit quicker. But look, the end of the day, he came on at 2-0, right? So the bus was parked. It was always going to be easier to dominate the ball once he was on the pitch. So I don't think us being more dominant was totally down to him. What I would say is he came on at 2-0, and I don't think they created any more chances once he was on the pitch. But I think in the second half, I would have preferred Winks to be on earlier, to be starting that second half with Hojbjerg, because I think that would have helped us try and get the ball forward quicker once the second half started. Once he was on the pitch at 2-0 down, look, when you're asking Harry Winks to come and turn the game from 2-0, then you're in trouble. Because I'm not saying that's what he's going to do, because he's not. What he'll do is allow you to have quicker passing into the attacking players, and and give the attacking players more space to try and create something. But when you're playing a low block, it doesn't matter what you do, you're not going to have space to create anything, because the other opposition is 2-0 up. So he's not a miracle worker, but I did think we looked a bit better when he was on.
The way you speak about him, he should be a miracle worker. No, I'm joking.
Come on.
Look, let's move on to Jose Mourinho. We gave him a 5. I felt that the system was wrong, and he recognised that in the first half. He changed up the system. We were a tiny bit better after he did change up the system, but still not good enough. I felt that we need to go and attack teams that play a low block. We need to go attack them instead of waiting for them to come at us, and like a bit of like a game of chess. Like you saw when teams play a low block against us and we go and attack them, we can actually score goals. So I don't understand why we've stopped that. Yes, I know because of defensive solidity and all that has got better since that West Ham game, but our attack is suffering big time for it. And Jose has got to look at that big time, because we really need to start attacking teams if we're going to start getting points week in, week out. He took off Tanguy Ndombele, and probably rightly so, at half time. He was just very, very, very unlucky that Giovani went off injured a minute after that. If Giovani doesn't go off injured, we could be talking about a different scoreline, different game. But unfortunate for him, he did go off injured, and then it really just didn't help his cause for the rest of the game, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jose got a few things wrong. He was unlucky with a few things, but he got a few things wrong yesterday. I think in terms of how we started the game, we started poorly. Jose admits that first 20 minutes, we weren't really at it. We weren't really aggressive. But once about halfway through the second half, he's got a foothold in the game, I think. And I think Jose is right in his assessment when he says the latter part of the first half, we were in a better period. And then as soon as we're in a better period, we concede a penalty completely inexplicably, and Jose can't do much about that penalty that Aurier is given away. And as Jose said as well, which I completely agree with, it's not a penalty that Leicester have earned. It's a penalty that we've given away. There's a difference. And when Leicester, if you get a penalty from quick attacking play or leaving a defender exposed and stuff, you can say that's a team that's earned a penalty and that's due to their good play. But that wasn't. That was just due to our stupidity. We've given them a penalty, and that's going and tell you now, going in at halftime at 0-0 and going in at 1-0 is a big difference, especially against a side like Leicester. So obviously, now going in at half time, he has to change things up a bit, chasing the game. He needs a goal. He brings on Gareth Bale. I think knowing that Leicester are probably going to sit in and counter, so knowing that Bale might have a bit more time and a bit more space on the ball, and if you have creative players to find him in space and isolate the fullback, then maybe he gets some joy. Lo Celso then goes off injured a minute into the second half, and all of a sudden he has to play Lucas, Bale, and Kane in behind Son, and that it's not the most just look, they're good players, but they're just not the most creative. Against a low block, they're not the most incisive of passers. And in terms of passing and moving and creating space for people, that's not quite their game. Like, they like space themselves, most of those players. So that's big reason why we struggled. But having said that, I think his substitutions were a bit strange at some points. I think putting Sissoko right back didn't work. I wasn't sure about that. Potentially as well, bringing Lucas on for Lo Celso once he was injured didn't work as well. Maybe he could have brought Vinicius on, have a more of a target man up top, then drop Kane in behind Vinicius, have Son on the left, and then at least if you're pumping balls high into the box and causing trouble for the Leicester defence, we have a bit more of a physical presence in there. Otherwise, if you're just doing that with Son up there and Kane, it's always going to be a bit more of a struggle. So we weren't able to ask more questions to the Leicester defence, but. Yeah, I think he got a few things wrong. He was unlucky with a few things, but we have to move on from it. He has to find a way to start creating more quality chances against these low blocks, because otherwise, when you do go 1-0 down to a mistake and like that, and to be fair to Jose, in terms of how the game plan was working, we've seen this before against teams like Burnley and West Brom and whatnot. You keep it tight and keep it a 0-0 and then hope to get a goal kind of with your quality up front. And it might have worked if it wasn't for that penalty. It might have worked. But are those tactics good enough? You could argue against a team like Leicester, probably maybe not. But you could argue as well against Man City, against Arsenal, against all these other teams, it was working. So I don't think in terms of how the game was going yesterday, we was always going to end up in defeat until that penalty was given. And as soon as that penalty was given, and gave it away, then we were in trouble. Then alarm bells start ringing, and I thought he didn't do enough in the second half for me to turn that around, and that was a worrying sign for me. But in terms of how the game plan was going to work up until that penalty, it wasn't great. But there's no reason why we couldn't have gone on to win the game before that.
Yeah, I think that's spot on, to be fair. But look, that is our player ratings. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of our ratings. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know your ratings in the comment section below as well. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs!